Hello everyone, welcome to day 218 of playing chess every day for you. Let's find the game. We get the white pieces, so e4. We get e5. And we see the same as usual. If knight to f6, I just play d3. If bishop out, I play c3. They bring their queen out, and I'm quite sure that's not the best way to play this. Queen to f6. It's very interesting. I mean, if I had my bishop on g5, the queen wouldn't have many squares to go. So maybe I'll play d3 and bishop g5. The queen would only have the center to go to. I think I'll just play c3, b4, queen b3. d3 is also good. It just lets me expand. They bring their bishop, but that just walks into b4. It also walks into d4, but b4 is the right way. If bishop b6, I play a4, threaten to trap the piece. They have to play a5 or a6. They play a5. I could actually play d3 and bring my bishop, trying to distract the queen from this square. I'll play d3, bring my bishop, and just really try to get the queen and the knight away from defending this square. I always have the option of pushing as well. They stop me from that, but that's okay. I could bring my knight into the game and try to target this. I can go ahead and castle also. They bring another knight, which now this supports this knight. But if I could only move the queen away from this weakness, that would be great for me. I'll play rook e1. Just bring my rook to the center. Maybe trade the bishop off. That move just allows me to... I could take, but that would free their a file. Them taking isn't really a danger at all. Them pushing is very annoying though. I could push myself. Takes, they just take. I could go ahead and try to pin them here. I think I just bring my bishop. They go ahead and take on a5. If I take their bishop here, they can take with their knight, but that's not so good. If I take on here, if they take, I just take back. I mean, I have many ways I could take the pawn now. I could also push. If they took, I would take. They'd be able to save their bishop, so I'll go ahead and take the bishop here. If the rook takes, I can just take. They go ahead and take with their rook. I don't really have to take back here, although I'll be down a pawn. And I definitely can. d4, if they take, I could recapture. I think d4 is a good move. If they took, I'll tempo the queen. I'll go ahead and play d4 here. But now they're really just letting me play d takes e4. And their queen would have to move. They go ahead and take. The obvious thing to do here would be to... I mean, I could take here to tempo the queen. Although taking the knight would just win me a pawn. Taking the knight, I win this. Although this is protected 3 times, so not at the moment. Taking this knight lets me just free up my rook eventually. I could just take also, but then I'd lose the bishop. The knight's a threat, I have to move my bishop. I could defend it, but I'll go ahead and take. Queen takes, I could just take. They do go ahead and take. Obviously taking this pawn would lose my rook. And they're actually threatening just to win material here. I could just move my knight, but that would walk straight into danger. And I think I'm just allowing them too much here. This queen move makes sense. This queen move does make sense. Queen to b3. I'm just targeting this, defending this, and attacking this. And the queen cannot take because I take with my knight. So I am attacking 2 pawns here. If they move the rook, I mean rook over is nice. And I actually still can't take with the pawn because that would lose my rook. I should really connect my rooks with knight to d2. It's also just a very nice move. That's a very, very nice move that they found. Because if I take, I lose to mate. If I take, I lose to mate. They're finding very nice moves. I do have a check here. And they have to get out of the way. I don't think the check is very good. They can also just block. Can't take. I am losing material here. I think when they take, that would be very bad for me. It's a very, very nice move that they found. I can't really attack them in any way. I mean, f4 is a move that forces the queen to move. But the queen could just slide back. I don't want to go into this trade here. If I take, I feel like I have to go into this trade. Bishop takes, knight takes. I have a check. Knight takes, I have to take with the queen. I'm also threatening a check now, so they kinda have to take. I really think I have to connect my rooks here, just with knight to d2. To enable me to take, and just to control the center. And keep the pieces defended. So if they take here, I should probably just take with my queen and simplify. I'm the one that's threatening a check, and I'm threatening to connect my rooks. And it's a threat in a way because this would be defended, and I could go ahead and take on this. If they take my bishop, I think I have to recapture with my queen. And they do. So once again, I can't take with the pawn. If I take with the queen, I'll still be down the pawn. And they could go ahead and probably start pushing here. But then I have a protected central pawn. And I also take the queen with check, so that's an extra benefit to myself. They're just allowing me to take the pawn. Before I even connect my rooks, I think I'll go ahead. I could really push. Could even push. But I don't want them to get closer to promotion, so I'll just take this. If they target it, I can always take. If they target this pawn, knight to c3 solves that problem. That does target this, but it does hang this. So I take, they take. I can dead pin their bishop to their rook. So I could pin their bishop to their rook. I could also just develop now. Doubling my rooks would be the easiest way to win. I think if I push here, if they take, that's very bad for them. They're not threatening to take anything here. I think I'll just start making moves to free my king. h3. My rook is hanging though, that's why I have to remember. I'm not sure where to move it. I could just slide it back and just control this pawn. Could play a rook to d7 and then try to push. Could also pin their bishop to their rook. They step their king up to target my pawn. And that's a nice move, but I can just defend it. If they target my knight, I have checks. Then I can also just defend the knight with my rook. And if I can only double up on the bishop, that would be very good for me. I have checks, they don't achieve much. So they played this rook move. I don't have a check here. If I just defend the pawn, I don't think that's so good. I'd love to double up on this bishop. I would play rook a1, but I think I'll play rook c1 here, just defending my knight. Or rook d1, sorry. Defending the pawn. The king goes back to defend the bishop and potentially try to push. I could try to make counterplay now with different checks. If I go here, so here, takes, I'm fine with that. I'm threatening a check. I'm also threatening to go to c5. I think I should just go ahead and play h3, and just free up my king, or even king f1. I'd love to connect my rooks. I'll play h3 for now. My game plan should be to bring my rook back to a5, and then to bring my knight into the game. That would also stop any kind of forks. They do go for it. I can just go ahead and simplify here. I can also go back to a5 now, and it's the same thing. Where I'm protecting the pawn 2 times. 3 times even. And I could play knight b5 with the idea of just pushing. Did think they would play that, but that's a move that just allows me to play knight b5. I don't think that's a good move. If they push, I just take with a double check. They go ahead and pin my knight to my rook, but I can still go ahead and push. If they push through, I push. If they push, that's very bad for me. That's a nice move they found. If I push, they can push, which would win them the game. But if I push and they push, I have this. It's very complicated. If they push, I will push too. If they take, I take. If they push, I'll play rook a7. But then they can take with the rook. And they go ahead and play the wrong move, definitely. They step away. So I don't have any tactics here winning any pieces. I can pin, but then they take. The check doesn't do anything. My knight is pinned now to my rook. But I can always just give checks. I'll start running my king. If the rook takes here, I have this square. So if I go here and the rook takes, I'd have this square, but the bishop's in the way. So here if they take, wow, here, because if they take, I take with a check. Beautiful tactic from me. And now I'll simply retreat my knight back and try to win their pawns. They have that move, but I do have this check now. I also have this check. They can go back and defend. I think I'll give this check first and use my king as a defensive tool. I mean, this move, they can't come back to defend this. They have to push, and then I have this. If they push, I go here. Now their king is almost cut off. They find this nice move. If I push, they take. Have a check now, forcing the king away. But this almost looks like a draw. Yeah, so I can't sacrifice my knight here. Not many moves I actually have. And if I ever step my king over. I mean, but this loses the game now. I do have a check here, but I really can't win the game. Yeah, there's nothing I can do here, it's just a draw. The king takes, keeping the pawn. But there's nothing they can do to win the game. And here, whatever happens, yeah, I just have to go for the draw. It's unfortunate. Let's have a look at this game, because I think I was winning in the end game, but I blundered through the game away. I played at a 74.3, and they played at an 80, and yeah, I was completely winning in the end game, but I made the blunder which threw away the game. The opening was all fine. Castling was good, rook e1 was good. This wasn't the best for me, I had to just take the pawn. This was all okay, but I was actually worse here. And here the game was completely equal. Taking was good, it's best to play rook a4, just defending. And here I had to go rook to c6 and just double up on their king. Which is why I missed. Rook to c6. The best move is bishop to b7, just forcing my rook to move. And then I'd slide back to c5. But I think the moves that I played were all okay as well. The game was completely equal here. I made a huge mistake here. They found the move, forking me, and this was an even bigger mistake if they pushed. Which of course I did see that they could push, but I thought that if they pushed I'd have this. But then I guess they'd just take. And they'd be completely equal, they'd be completely winning. And if they didn't take, I'd have to just give up the piece. So I made a huge mistake there. Luckily for me they missed it because they had such little time. I actually had to take with the knight here. Because they took my rook. Well, I'd have a very, very nice fork here. That's a big miss from them. If I take, They can take but to fork. The game is completely equal here. Luckily for me, I found the only move which works after. This is a blunder which gives them just takes. Because if I take, there's this. Wow. Luckily for me, they played bishop c6, which gives me knight to a7. I mean, I also had knight to d4 here. And if they took, it would walk into a fork and lose the game again. I played knight to a7. But they took, which is a huge blunder for them. They're down on time. They think I blundered here. But they walk into a fork. And I was completely winning here, but I had no idea how to win this endgame. Even when down a pawn, I thought losing the pawn was the biggest mistake. But it wasn't. The biggest mistake this game was... Even here I'm completely winning. I made a mistake here. The idea was to actually run my king around. I just couldn't find the right way to win. And here this was the blunder. Stepping away was the blunder. Because it allows them to just trade off the material. And then this is just a loss. It's just a draw. So the biggest blunder this endgame was actually just giving up by stepping away because of g4. I had to go knight back. I do not know how I'm supposed to win this game. Now if they ever push, I can... What happens if they push? If they push, I have to play h4. I have to keep one pawn on the board to make sure I don't lose. And then they have to play king e4. I can play knight to f1. They play king to d4. I can play king f2 here. And just, wow, really, trap their pawn. Make them unable to defend it. Wow, that would win me the game. I did not see this theory. I understood that I had to keep my pawn on the board. And this move let them trade it off because I'd lose the piece otherwise. This would just be a draw. That's very sad. I didn't know how to win this endgame. It would have been an easy win otherwise if I knew to actually just step back. If they wasted time here. I mean, here I have this check. And if king to f5, I play knight to g1 and just keep wasting time. I'm not sure. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy endgame to win, but either way, it's a draw. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.